What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to talk to you about my evolution throughout being a wargamer. So, starting way back when, I want to say it was sometime in middle school, Gershwin and I were playing. We were playing outside with like samurai swords, wooden ones at least, and I forgot what we were playing. Probably just some make believe stuff. But eventually, Gershwin said, I wish there was a game where we can create our own armies and actually battle against one another. And this is when the light bulb went off on both of our heads, and we were just trying to figure out what kind of board games there were, if there was any other like video games we could maybe achieve this in. However, at the time, Gershwin didn't really have any gaming consoles, and I just had like my PS2 or PS3, whatever it was at the time. And we kind of just left it at that. Nothing really evolved. And then I believe it was another year later, at Gershwin's birthday party kind of thing, there was a Warhammer 40K store at our local mall. And eventually, the store employee kind of got us in there, and he started showing us minis and started talking about the game. And I'm like, oh wow, like this actually looks interesting. And then we saw the price tags, and we were like, no, thank you. But eventually, our parents were like, yeah, it's his birthday, whatever. We'll do something. So it was me, Gershwin, and another friend at the time. We all kind of put our money together, and we all purchased I think it was just like a 10-man Space Wolf, just regular infantry. And surprisingly enough, when we purchased it, we didn't actually take it home or anything. We sat down at the tables and we started clipping things together and gluing things and just overall looking at what was inside the box set, and we had no idea what we were getting into. We were basically just putting things together that looked cool. I remember the first character I made had 2 bolt pistols, and he was kind of like in like a jumping pose, and so because of this, my other character had like 2 chain axes. And all in all, like, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just kids building these awesome looking miniatures. I believe Gershwin actually painted his, or maybe that would have been years later. But eventually that was the start into our 40K experience. From there, I think we started looking at what armies were available, and almost instantly, the Tau was really interesting to me. I really enjoyed the aesthetic of the battle suits, and I believe there was a guy who was playing Tau against like some Chaos faction, and he had some really epic conversions with his Tau battle suits that looked like Gundam. And at the time, I was like obsessed with Gundam, so I think that's why the Tau was clearly the best choice for me. Eventually, I started buying Tau as we fast forward in life. I think I was getting my first job, and I believe it was around 5th edition, where we actually had armies and were playing with them. And this was an army that I legit bought, built, painted, and played, and I had tons of conversions. My painting skills were horrible, and I actually had my mom help me with a lot of the models, because I really hated painting the same model over and over and over again, which luckily I wasn't playing like a horde type army, and that might be why I never really liked the Fire Warriors. I just hated painting them. And since we were pretty poor at the time, working my $5 an hour busboy job, I couldn't really afford GW paints, so I was using the cheap Walmart paints, and eventually they'd chip, and there'd be some models that were metal, and the paints wouldn't really stick that well to it. Anyways, it really brought my wargaming experience to a whole new level, because it's like I had to think outside the box as to how to make this work and whatnot. And I wish I had pictures of the army, but I can't find any anywhere. And I sold off this army in high school. I think I made about $700, which at the time I was like, holy crap, that's a whole lot of money. I'm like, I should, buy and resell 40K stuff on eBay. And that's what I did for a good while. So after selling my Tau, I wanted to play Space Wolves because I really wanted to see how well a Space Marine army does, since almost everybody I knew played Space Marines. However, during our gaming, like our 40K battles, Gershwin also wanted to start Space Wolves, and there was another player who played Tyranids who also wanted to play Space Wolves. And I thought to myself, I'm like, oh crap, like if I play Space Wolves, that's gonna be 3 people playing Space Wolves. That's not gonna be any fun. We need some diversity. So I did end up getting like some Dreadnoughts and some of the Wolfen. I think Wolfens weren't out yet. It wasn't the Wolfen. It was the Thunderwolf Cavalry that I got because that was going to be kind of the theme of my army. Thunderwolves going in with Dreadnought support. But anyway, I ended up selling the models that I did buy, and that's when I made my first big purchase, and that was the Minotaurs. If you go way back to the beginnings of our channel, the Minotaur Space Marine army that I had, I found it complete on eBay for like $500. Everything was painted, everything was already done and ready. Like, clean army right out the bat, and they looked really good. However, Minotaurs aren't really very fluffy. Like, the lore is cool and all, but they didn't really have anything special to them. Like, Blood Angels have Sanguinary Guard, the Red Thirst, Black Rage, Furioso Dreadnoughts. Space Wolves, obviously they have like all these wolf-like things. But when it came to the Minotaurs, they're basically vanilla Marines with like 2 or 3 special characters. Although those special characters were pretty badass, like Ivanis Enkami and the Chapter Master of the Minotaurs. And as you can see, I have a few pictures here, but those pictures were horrible. At the time, I didn't know how to take, good pictures, and I kind of still don't. But anyway, as you can see here, that was one of my first Space Marine. That was the first Space Marine army that I ever got to play, and it's pretty cool. After that, I was looking to see if I could find like a quote studio army, an army that represented Gershwin and I, that we would use for YouTube and stuff like that. And since we called our Q&A sessions for the Greater War, I found an army again on eBay that was an orc. It was an orc army, but that had looted Tau weaponry and Tau battlesuits and whatnot. So it was, you play it as a Tau army. However, it's got really crazy conversions, and that's the army you see here. We still have this army. It is somewhere in Gershwin's room, the same room where we do our Q&As. So it's hiding somewhere amidst the the hobby stuff that's in the background. So I definitely need to bust that out again and play with it, because it's a pretty cool looking army, albeit not a lot of points, but it looks really cool. And then from there I jumped over to the Grey Knights. Grey Knights was an army that I decided to play because I was done losing. I did really horrible with the Tau for a number of years. I think that's where my losing streak came from, where I couldn't win any game. I was just getting beat down over and over and over again, until I'm like, alright, enough is enough. I need to play the best army that's currently available to us. And at the time it was the Grey Knights. And they were pretty cool because I really enjoy the lore for the Grey Knights. It's something different. It's something really interesting because they're supposed to be the best of the Space Marines. And on top of that, they're also all about having the Emperor's Gene Seed and fighting chaos. So, fighting demons more so. And that's where I began to learn about Kaldor Drago and it's just a really great army, lore-wise. Nowadays, it's not so good because it's all about the what do you call it? It's all about numbers in today's meta, I guess you could say. So because of that, I started doing good with them, but then I started losing and losing and losing. And I don't even know why, but I ended up selling my Grey Knights. Probably because I'm like, I'm just going to lose with them. I'm probably not going to play them ever again. And I sold them. And that's another regret that I have. Almost as big as a regret as selling my original Tau army. Because it was a complete army. Everything was magnetized, everything was painted to a high level. I had some highly converted models in there, as you can see in the images. And it was an army that was near and dear to me. My second baby, so to speak. But hey, I made a few bucks off of it, and I used that money to buy the current models and like conversions and stuff for the Celestial Suns. And this is where the gaming project that I've been working on for years kind of stemmed from. So yeah, I've been working on my Celestial Suns, the Lost Legion lore for a long time now. I had a great guy who did conversions, and overall he just did commissions, and his commissions were really great for the price. I should have got more done from him, because I feel like the best things that I have in my army came from him. And that was a Contemptor Dreadnought, my Cataphractic Terminators, Soul Oros, my Chapter Master, and I think it was, yeah, all my regular troops, they all came from him. And those are some really, really nice models. I really love the way the white really pops. And yeah, he doesn't, from what I've known, he quit being a painting studio or a commission studio, and he actually is managing his own GW. I think that's what he was doing. But anyway, that's where my Celestial Sun lore began. I've had to change it over and over again through many different, what do you call it, editions of the game, because I almost had it completely done for 7th edition, and then 8th edition came and completely revamped the rules. So it's like all the rules I had written for them, all the psychic disciplines and stuff, those things don't exist anymore. So it's like, ugh, now I really gotta almost start from scratch. But anyway, from there I split off and I started doing the Chaos portion of my Celestial Suns, the Infernal Suns, and that's where I really enjoy Chaos, where Space Marines are a loyal side and they show you the power of being Space Marine. When it comes to Chaos, there's just so much fun. There's so many things you can mess around with and play around with. The conversions are literally through the roof with that. And then, as I started playing more and more with them, I began to feel like there's something missing. So I had to go back to my roots, and I needed a Tau army. So at the time, I wasn't really being smart, I guess. I'm just like, I need a Tau army, and I need something that is painted and ready, so I can, put it out and play against Gershwin's orcs, bring back the OG battle between Sound Alchemist and Gershwin. And that's when I found a pretty cool looking Tau army on eBay again, and I bit the bullet and I got it. It's not 100% what I wished it would have been model wise, but it gets the job done, so I can't complain. And that has been my little journey through being a wargamer. It has a lot to do with selling armies, buying armies, selling those armies to buy other armies. And overall, if there's an army you really enjoy, I guess what I'm getting at here is don't sell it, just keep it, because regret is a big thing. And so yeah, that was my life of 40K. Obviously there's more things here and there, but that was just the mainstay of it. If you guys have an army that you wish you never sold, let me know in the comments. And that's all I got for today. As always, this has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll talk to you guys next time.